Well, hello out there. This is the Green Guy with Green Guy Finance. I'm going to be going through the craziness that was ResMed Inc. RMD ticker today for you, looking at a couple things. One, the way to play a fraudulent stock. I do a lot of these. There is an art to them, and it's not exactly as easy as a lot of people would think it would be. And there's a couple things to look at. So I'm going to go through what I look at on a fraudulent piece, patterned type stock. I'm going to look at, I'm going to tell you exactly what I did do in terms of my option activity. And in addition to that, I'm going to go through what to look for tomorrow in RMD. Those three things. But I was going to tell you a little anecdotal side note first, because this is what I was thinking. I was going to commemorate this piece with white stripes, stop breaking down. Basically just a commentary on the macro today, which was as ugly as it got. So, you know, Doug Cass, I'm sure, is laughing in his sleep at the moment. And there's a lot of people that were long crying themselves in a beer at the moment. So I couldn't get a good version of Stop Breaking Down by the White Stripes. But I did find this, an excellent version of Seven Nation Army. The bass is spectacular. Live at Rock, AM Ring 2007. If you have good speakers, do it. It doesn't come through on the little microphone thing here, so I was a little upset I couldn't play it for you guys, but fan-flippin-tastic. I highly recommend listening to it. That being what it is, let's go back to RMD. Okay, so first things first, let's just talk about the pattern of a fraudulent stock, okay? Little fundamental basics on what needs to be there in terms of just the fundamentals that would want you to be interested to begin with, okay? Okay, so first off, the price action on this. Let's see. Just look for the last month is fine. You don't have to go too much further than that. So let's go September. For those that are interested, this is the beginning of September. I know sometimes these videos, even though YouTube is technically HD, whatever, comes through fuzzy. This is the beginning of September. So the top data looks like 53.66. Go to the bottoming at 49.01. So we have a range that sort of is stinky. It's not a volatile stock. ResMed Inc. I don't really know what they do. I don't really care. I'm reading the report as it comes out. But you need to know the price range here, and that gives you a range that's very, very non-volatile. That's important for one thing. It tells you that on an average daily basis, this stock is actually decently stable, and that it's not going to have probably a 15% sell-off. So it gives you a bit of a range. So you're looking at a 5 to 10% sell-off at best. Before we even look at the article, I can tell you that. The other thing that's interesting about the chart here is a necessary element for a fraudulent piece is a recent buy. So you need a recent run-up in the stock, which you have. So you have, you know, a little bit of non-volatile stock, but at the same time you have a run-up, and that makes for an interesting dynamic on the chart. You can play non-volatile stocks like this. It's just sometimes they might bleed out throughout a couple days. You know, as I said on the social media sites today, it might bleed out over a couple days for one reason. It's just a non-volatile stock. Stable stocks, some people don't check them every day. It's not expected to have crazy days like this. TAL is a stock that I took a put on a long time ago. That sucker sold off almost nothing day one, and day two it had a 5% slip, and day three it had an additional 3% slip. Very, very stable, slow stocks sell off in the same manner. So keep that in mind, okay? But we do have that run up. So that's as much as we really need to look at on this chart. So let's go to the intraday. Intraday here, timing-wise, no. I'm sorry. Let's go to the article before we come back to that, because that's more of just how I played it. So this is the article. It was on Scribd, which I am not really extremely familiar with. So for me, I was going, I don't know what this is. I got to be a little careful. But coming down a little bit, reading the important parts here. Anonymous author is a huge problem in my mind for playing this stock. Even on Seeking Alpha, at very least, you'll get usernames, so you know the guy's history. Anonymous author just screams fishy. I don't know if this guy's worth anything at all. There's no history. There's no credentials. I don't know who he is. So that was a bit of a problem right from the start that I saw. So I wasn't too serious about this until I read the actual report, which, as I said today, um, let's see, was one of the best fraudulent reports. Yeah, this is it. Was one of the best fraudulent reports I've ever read, which is true. This is above and beyond what you'd expect in a fraudulent report. It's more what you'd expect in a legal filing. It goes through actually the specific SEC violations, how the fraud was committed. I mean, look at this. They even have pictures. This is above and beyond what you'd expect in a fraudulent report. I would almost not even care that this is a fraudulent report based on the insane amount of information that's in this. Without ever hearing of the stock or playing the stock, this guy has references to his references practically. I mean, it's obviously written by somebody that knows what they're doing. The contents of the report, I'm not 1,000% sure of, but it seems like everything fell into place from a very quick read of the company, overall generics, and then from a very quick read of the report, it seemed like everything would fall into place. And this was enough to spark fear in enough people's minds that there would be a sell-off. Because if there's one thing that stock markets have taught me, it's fear can be insane. Greed is a little slower. So I think this is enough for a fear-based movement. Okay? So at that point, we're buying in. We know that. Let's go to the actual play. I'll tell you how I played it. And hopefully it helps you a little bit next time you're looking at these things. But if not, then so be it. Maybe it'll just educate you a little bit more. So we had the report come out here about 12:30. Okay, you saw the big sell-off that happened at 12:30. These are minute increments here. 12:30, and then what happened? It had a bit of a buyback, and people were a bit shocked if they were new to the market and were following this. But this is actually extremely common. You always have this buyback pattern. You want to know why? I can speculate for you, but honestly, I've seen this so many times, I don't even think about it anymore. You usually have a 10 to 15 minute window to get your position in, which is sort of shocking, but it's extremely true. 10 to 15 minutes is an obscene amount of time if you really think about how quickly most of the market moves. But in this instance, you have that much time to read a report, digest a report, check out the options action, read other people's feedback, and then still make a decision. That's one of the reasons I love these types of plays. So 12:30, right? And then look at this. So 12:30 and about 12:43 it started going down. So between 10 and 15 minutes, just like I said. I bought my position about 12:36, I believe, or at least that's when I posted it. I got a pretty good price. I got 30 cents on my put options, which were 45 strikes, which means that in an ideal world, the stock goes below 45. I was looking, like I said, for a 5 to 10% downside. If it goes down 5%, I will at least make my money back and probably a little bit more, 20% is what I was thinking. Turns out I made a lot more without it going down 10%. But that's just the way it is. Some days the world is your oyster, I guess. So waterfall. To show you guys... Nah, let's not do that. I called the waterfall for those of you guys that were listening. It did happen. It went down. But honestly, the price action was very, very, very slow. Usually I'm looking for an hour, hour and a half for the majority of the sell-off. We started about, I think, what was this? About 1.5% down. And throughout, well, that's a little, about 45 minutes, it went down. A lot slower than I was expecting it to, honest. 45 minutes into this, after the original report came out, it had bottomed to only about 6%, and it was showing a hell of a lot of fight. So I sold out almost exactly at the bottom, and it was just fortuitous that I did that. I can't tell you that I really called it, but I saw the price action. I didn't like it. I had 45 strikes. The stock only sold off to 47.96. I had these continual little buybacks. I don't like the resistance. And I decided to take a double and a little bit extra and just call it a day. If you don't know, don't gamble. Take your money and run is a great way to play the market, especially if you do options. And that was it. So pretty much I got a great entry at a low price. and a really good exit off of experience, and I hope that helped you out a little bit for the future there. If you shorted, same thing. Look for the levels that it'll hit. 5% is about what you should expect minimum for a good fraudulent report. Okay? I'm not going to go what makes a good fraudulent report here today, but let's go through the rest of this, what's going to happen tomorrow. So basically, it had an insane rebound. In my opinion, it had a very insane rebound. It went back to 3, only down 3% on the day, which is pretty low for the quality of the article. But then again, it was anonymous. So I think there's enough doubt in people's minds as to the quality of the work. So I think what you're going to see is one of two things that's going to emerge. I think you're going to see a little bit of a bleeding sell-off here, which is probably what's going to happen. I imagine it's going to be a slow sell-off as people verify the information with a bit of a positive bump as the company does a press release. But ultimately, I think that report was dead on. I think if you're a short, I would be maybe shorting for the next day or two. Watch your stops. I would always say if you're shorting, be careful. I like doing options much more than I do like shorting, honestly. But if you are, expect a slow bleed is what I would honestly predict. And then look for more statements about the company and follow that news very, very, very closely. But it looks like if you got a short in up here, hold your profits if you got them, and I would ride those out, honestly. Going back to the same level after this, I think would be very difficult, especially given the market environment. The macro sucks. So you have everything on your side, apparently. So I think that's about it. I think I went through the play. I went through what I looked for in a fraudulent stock, the price action at very least. Went a little bit through the report there, which was a very atypical report, and a little bit of what I'm looking forward in the future there. But that's it, guys. And I'll tell you this. If you guys have any stocks you want me to look at, not a problem. I don't mind giving recommendations. I'm probably going to be doing one or two things here in the future, which is making a subscription service, or if I make enough money in time, starting a small hedge fund, which would be very fun for me. But we'll see about that. At the moment, I'm just enjoying myself, having fun, and giving out free advice to people that seem to be losing money hand over fist. So, anyways, there you go. Green guy out.